job because I get to go in and like spend time with the kids and teach a lesson and talk with the teachers, and then don't have to do grades and all the other stuff that as a teacher you just get sick of doing. It's a good gig, and I'm enjoying my time doing that. So today I'm going to talk to you about word building. So basically, here's what I want you to do. I want you to rate on a scale of 1 to 5 your comfort or your knowledge with word building. So 1 would be you can make an inference about the strategy by the name, but you haven't heard of it before. Number 2, you've heard of it, but you don't really know much about it. 3, you've seen it done, or have had someone explain it to you before. Number 4, you can do a word building lesson. And 5, you know exactly how to do a lesson and know why word building is effective. So take a moment, decide what your vote is going to be. All right, and then go ahead and show me on your fingers, 1 through 5, how you would rate your knowledge and comfort level with word building. Okay, all right. Okay, that's good for me to know just about how to go about it. Okay, I hope that by the time we are done in the next 45 minutes that you can at least go up 1 or 2 numbers. Okay, so word building basically is an approach to teaching phonics and decoding. It was developed by Isabel Beck, who is out of the University of Pittsburgh. She is, honestly, like one of the reading gurus of our time right now, who's done a lot of research into how the brain works and so how students need to learn to read. And so she, along with several of the other professors there, have made a lot of progress and are known throughout the entire U.S. for their research in how to teach reading. So it is based on research about how the brain learns to read. It's not, like, oh, this is the current fad, or this seems interesting. Like, we now can watch a brain read, and then know like how the brain works using functional MRIs. And so using that, then they have developed strategies that match that. So it's not just like, put your finger out in the wind and hope that this works. We know that based on how your brain works, that this works. Because of that is explicit and systematic. It's not, the kids aren't guessing things. You are explicitly telling them, here's how a letter sounds. And then it's taught in a systematic way. There are certain vowel sounds or certain letters that are easier for a child to master earlier on, and so those are taught earlier on as opposed to later on. For example, short A is a very easy sound for kids to learn. They don't typically have any problems distinguishing it between other sounds, and so that's one of the first sounds taught. Where E and I are a little more difficult, kids mix those up, and so they wait and introduce E and I a little bit later. It's focused on letter sound correspondence, and it is a teaching lesson, not a testing lesson. And that's really important for you to have straight in your mind. Is I'm not testing the kid. I am teaching the kid through this method. And then there's a small opportunity at the end of the lesson for you to assess. But you're not asking a lot of questions. You are prompting and showing with the students, and then they are working with you. Okay. Please stop me also at any time if you have any questions. Okay, so what you're going to need when you do it is letter tiles or boards. Now, you all are fortunate that in every school, right, you have these lovely, like I love these things. I actually had a teacher the other day email me and say, where are more of these? These magnetic letter boards, okay? So if you're going from high school down to kindergarten, this is great because kids can't lose them. They're magnetic. You have these at your disposal. So unlike today where you'll be using little paper letters, for your experience, you don't have to do that with the kids. I would suggest that when you go and do this with the kids, and you'll focus on like 6 letters in a lesson, don't just leave them up here. Have the kids pull down the 6 letters you're going to use. You'll waste too much time with kids hunting and putting them back. That's not your purpose of it. There's opportunities to work on alphabetizing and things like that at different times. That's not the purpose of word building. So what's best is you tell the kids, okay, today you're going to need the letters E, W, S, I'm just making it up, M, have the kids pull the letters down, and then from these letters build the word. Don't have them up here. It'll be a mess. It takes the kindergartners forever to put them back, and it'll just save a lot of aggravation. Especially, you have a nice board direction with the letters back on. Okay, so this is what you all will use normally, not what you're using today. You'll have a list of words and probably some silly sentences that go with it, and paper and pencil would be good for you and for the student. Okay, so it's pretty basic in the fact that it's not a lot of preparation and not a lot of time-intensive materials. Okay, so I'm going to run you through a sample lesson of how to do word building. I'm going to just write the letters up here because I don't have magnetic letters big enough that you would see. Okay, so would you mind passing one of these out to each? All right, and for your reference, I'm using this chart right here. Nope. Okay. I'm going to do list A19. Yes.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Is this assuming that the kids already know all their letters and the sounds?
It is assuming that they have at least been introduced to all of them. They don't necessarily need to be automatic with all of them. This will help with some automaticity, but they should. They at least know all of those once you're using. Yeah, great question. Yes, Anita.
And then are we going to have a lesson plan for every day that we go in there, or is it going to be kind of based on the kids that we have?
Amanda, can you answer that question?
What was the question? Are we going to have a lesson plan every day that we go into the schools, or are we
So-
going to kind of base things on the kids that we have and where they're at?
The teacher will often tell you where they're at. Some teachers are a little bit more prepared than others.
Okay.
But there are also, there'll be, as I was telling, and I think maybe Amelia covered it, these Spire books. And so they will have words, short sentences, and short stories for any element. So you can go off of those books as well. Teacher says you're learning short A. You could probably, if I'm correct, they take this like sample lesson and then apply it to short A and then build.
Yeah, and do you guys have your own set of all the lists? Because what you can do is short A, and they can pull up the list.
Yeah,
that
so
says
we
A,
have a
blah,
list
blah.
for every
Yeah.
element for you guys.
Yeah, these are all made for, like, even the teachers, these are made for the teachers. You don't have to come up with your own words. In fact, we don't want you to come up with your own words. It throws in too many wrenches in the learning. So, yeah, so these should be available with the word list and the sentences.
Okay, and so every day that we go in, like, I'm going to be not a king, so I'm just going to have first graders, but every person is going to have.
Do you guys do word building for every,
single.
is that your main intervention with the kids, is word building?
Just word
It might
building.
not always be. A teacher might ask you to do something a little different, but typically we try to, I would say, for those of you who are veteran volunteers, would you say typically you have a time of word building often with the students?
Yeah,
Especially those of you in first grade.
and at ATA, lots of times we get the spelling list for the week, and we work a lot with that. And so the teacher would give us a list of spelling words for the week, and we would have the kids, I would have the kids do different things to build those words and work through those words.
So
Sorry, I'm just trying to think of their spelling list and think of it.
It's often tough to go by the spelling list.
Yeah.
Because they're so mixed up. It's
Yeah,
not
that's what-
usually, yeah. I think this would be more beneficial for a beginning person because it keeps it within like the 6 letters, and it might be easier for you to follow. Where are these sheets? And do we have these lists, these A's, whatever? What is this from?
This is the word building sequence list. I mean, I have a whole file of them. I could send it to you.
yeah, we can get the word building sequence list. Ours is a little different in those books. That's how it happened to Spire, multi-sensory, which is under Gordon Gillingham. So it's not, doesn't look like this.
Can we get a list like that?
Because this would be for people who are just
starting.
Beginning, I think to have this list, you could do the whole 20 minutes on this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Especially the first grade.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you wanna send it to me, then
Yeah,
I'll just have
Okay,
that
absolutely.
at your.
So you'll have like the beginning start.
Yep. Yeah, I start
This
with
is where you
A1.
start.
Yeah, A1, and you have like, you have CAD, did, yeah. Okay, so take your letters and please put them across the top of your table, just like I have done.
You want the same order?
If I were teaching a kindergartner, I would say absolutely, you have to put it in the same order. For you guys, I trust that you can identify the letters. Okay, so remember I said this is explicit and systematic. So explicit means I'm not going to start by assuming that you know all the letters. I mean, generally I believe you do. Even kindergartners, I would believe they did, or first graders. But I want to make sure that I am making sure that they know the correct sound. So I'm going to start by saying, okay, this is the letter A. The letter A says ah. Everybody say that sound? Ah. Watch their mouths to make sure their mouths are wide and open. Ah. Okay, good. CK. CK is a digraph. These are two letters that stick together that make one sound. They make the sound at the end of a word. This would be a conversation we had with the first grader later on in here. Two letters that stick together that make one sound. The C and the K do not make their own sound. It doesn't say k-k. It says together k, okay? So everybody, this is CK and it says k. Everybody say the sound? K. Good. And this is going to be a sound we're going to see only at the end of a word. We'll never see CK at the beginning of a word, okay? Our next letter is, this is the letter that sometimes people get mixed up with, so let's take a look at this. This is the letter D, okay? And the D says D. And because this is a letter we often get confused, we're going to go ahead and trace it in the sky. So everybody take your fingers. We're going to make a D, and we're going to say the sound D as we make it. Ready? D. Let's do it again. Good, one more time. D. One more time. D. Good, that's the letter D. It says D. Okay, this is the letter I. It says I. Please say the sound. I. This is the letter K. It says K. Please say K. K is going to say K at the beginning of a word. So as we said, CK says K at the end of a word. K is often going to say K at the beginning of the word. Okay? Yes, it can go with a vowel consonant E, but don't muddle the water for the kids. Yeah. This is an S. It says good. And this is a T. It says T. Great. Okay, so now that we know all our sounds, now we're going to start to build some words. I'm going to build some words first to show you how to do it. And then you're going to build with me, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I am looking at, as a teacher, the top two words are your demonstration words. Okay, so that's what I'm going to get ready to do, okay? Remember, nobody's touching their cards right now. I'm just building your words, okay? So I would physically be pulling these down, but for being flexible, I'm just going to, okay. So I'm pulling down my K. Pulling down my I, I'm pulling down my D. Notice I'm saying the name of the letter, not the sound. If you say the sound, you are doing half the work for the kids. Okay, so you're telling them the name of the letter because they need to be able to then tell me the sounds. Okay? Alright, so I pulled down my K, I pulled down my I, I pulled down my D. Now, I'm going to blend these sounds together. Okay, so K, I, kid. My word is kid. What's my word, everybody? Kid. Let's blend it together. Ready? Kid. Let's blend these two sounds together. Kid. Kid. Good job. You guys did a good job with that. Now, I can easily get a new word by only changing one letter. And so in this time, or one space, in this time, I'm going to change my D, and I'm going to pull down, remember that CK I said says a sound at the end of a word. Remember, the CK is together. It makes one sound. Okay, so watch me as I read this. It, kick, kick. Read it with me, ready? It, kick. Good. My word is kick. Very good. Okay. What I've just shown you is called cumulative blending, which is I am not expecting you to hold 3 separate sounds in your head and put them together in your head. It can be challenging it's absolutely challenging for a kindergartner and beginning first grader, especially if they're a struggling reader. So So the scaffold is that really, by blending just these two sounds together, you're now only really holding more like two sounds in your head. Technically, you're holding three, but it's easier. You will see a lot of kids, and probably some of the people who have done this before, the kids, if I pull down this three sounds, the kids can't say k, ik, kick. They can't blend them all together. So you do something called cumulative blending, where you do k, ik, kick, kick, so that they're not holding that many sounds in their head. Okay, are there any questions about that? Okay, all right, so now as I continue the lesson and say, okay, now we're gonna do it together. Okay, so now it's your turn. So everybody, please pull down your S. Pull down your I. Pull down your CK. And I apologize, someone's K got cut off somewhere. All right. Let's blend this word together, okay? Let's blend it. First sound. Second sound. Let's put these two sounds together. Sick. Good, okay? And so then as a teacher, I'm writing this word here because we're going to come back to read it later on. Okay? So what was this word, everybody? Sick. Sick, good. Okay, so we can easily change from one word to another by just changing one sound. So take away your I and put your A. Now, it's helpful if you're modeling this. Because as I get said, some struggling kids will leave their A somewhere else. You would be surprised. All right. Okay. Now, you're now more advanced first graders, so I'm not going to make you cumulatively blend it. So let's just read each sound and we'll blend it together. So ready? Sack. Sack. Very good. And a sack is another word for a bag. Okay. Let's take away your CK. Put it back up at the top and bring down your D. Okay. I'll just let you say each sound and blend it. Ready? Sack. Sack. Good. Okay. All right. I would like you, we're going to change two letters. So take away your D. Bring the CK back. Now I want you to take your T and put it after the S. S-T-A-C-K. Now this one you would absolutely have to cumulatively blend because blends at the beginning throw kids for early. Okay, so let's say each sound. Okay. Let's put these together. Let's put these together. Stack. 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 Very good. What's our word? Stack. Good. All right. That was a tough word. That was 4 sounds. You guys did a great job with that. All right. Take away your I, or I'm sorry, take away your A and put your I in. Okay. We'll cumulatively blend this again. First sound. Stick. Word. Stick. Stick. Very good. All right. Okay. Please take away the T. All right. I think you guys can do this all together. So just tell me each sound and then we'll put it together. Stick. Stick. Oh yeah, we already saw that word, didn't we? Oh, good job, guys. All right. Take away your S and put a K. Because remember, I said a K gives our sound at the beginning of the word. Okay, CK is what we had at the end of a word. Okay. Just tell me each sound. Kick. Kick. Very good. All right. And take away your CK. Put your D at the end. Each sound. Very good. Okay. Now we're going to do what kids love and it's called speed round. All right, put all your letters up at the top. Speed round, you don't pick all the words, you just pick some of the words. All right. pull down. Remember, I'm not saying the word, I'm not saying build this, I'm saying pull down, and then do some word. Okay, now, so that would be where the kids are manipulating. Now I want them just to read the words. So I'm gonna say, okay, I've been writing down the words as we made them, so now we're going to just read the words. And now we're gonna read them down, and then we're gonna do some random order, okay? All right, someone make a mistake on a word, please. Okay, ready? Okay, I heard someone say another sound. Let's look at this. Let's say each sound. Ready? Good. So what's our word? Good. Word. What was that word? I didn't quite hear it over here. A word? Okay, so you do that, and again, that's to build automaticity. They've already seen the sounds, and so now you want them to start building that quick recognition of words. Okay? All right, so after you've done that, then the next part of a word building is that then you do some dictation of some words. Okay? This is where different people have some different opinions. Some people say just have the kids copy the words down. That's not as effective. Some dictation is your chance to assess to see if they've actually gotten it. If a kid can then take sounds and write it, that shows you that they've mastered that skill. Okay, so then you would do some dictation. I would, and the way you do it is, okay, I would erase this all, and then I say, okay, please write the word kid. Okay, if you have a kid who's really struggling, you might want them to first tap the sounds before they write it. So you say the word kid. Say the word kid. Kid. Let's tap those sounds. Kid. Okay, now go ahead and write it. And then the kid writes it. If a kid makes a mistake right there, correct the mistake right there. Don't wait until you get the end. Especially because you guys are one-on-one. Let's take a look at that word. The word was kid. Oh, I noticed that you wrote K-E-D. Hold on, let's take a look. The word is kid. What's that sound? Id. How's my mouth? Id. I. Okay, so our word is, all right, so we should K-I-D. Okay, so don't let a kid persist in the mistake. You have to do 3 times the work to undo it than if they just learn it, if you correct it right there. So give them, you don't need to give them every single word. You can give them 4 words, 3 words, however much you want to do. And then the next thing is the silly sentences. And it's important to do silly sentences because it's putting things into context. So right now you've done things a lot in isolation, which is great for building automaticity. The problem is nobody reads lists, no one goes around reading lists of words, except for kindergartners, first graders. And so you want to then build it into the context. And so when I say in the context, I mean in the sentence where they would see it and in their reading and things like that. So this actually has A19, it has a silly sentence. Okay, so you can do 2 ways. You can write the silly sentence for the kids to read. Or if the kid seems to be doing well, you could actually use it as a dictation. I would suggest start first, until you know your student, I would just write it for the kid or show it to them if you have it written down for them to read it with you. Okay, so you'd say, okay, let's take a look at, this is a silly sentence. Okay, a lot of these sentences are actually questions and they're actually meant to have a little discussion you did afterwards. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's read this sentence together. Ready? Can a sick kid kick a stick? Okay, good. Let's make sure, I see a question mark at the end. Let's make sure our voices go up to show the inflection, that we're asking something, right? Can a sick kid kick a stick? What do you think? Do you think a sick kid could kick a stick? There's no right answer, just opting for kids to then think about the fact that what I'm reading has meaning. And so I'm supposed to be thinking about what I'm reading to. Okay. So that is in a nutshell. And as you can see, it took me, I think, 22 minutes. Some few side conversations, but that in a nutshell is the process of word building. And so you start with your individual sounds, then into sounds in the words. Then you want to just read the words by building automaticity, some dictation, and then having the words in the context of a sentence. So you want to make sure, if possible, that you hit all those one parts. If it's just as important for the kid to read it in a sentence than it is for them to read it in a word. So if you are short on time, build less words. Okay. It's better to hit every part and do every part short than to avoid parts reading. Are there any questions about that? No questions?
I have one.
Good.
I'm teaching, going to be working with kindergarten.
Okay.
How soon can we get into that?
Yeah, so kindergartners, it's going to be a while because they haven't had any of the
How
letters
soon can we
introduced to
get
them.
in?
Yeah, so, I mean, over at ATA, you're gonna have some kids who already know their letters, so there might be kids who have been doing, who are able to start doing that, but it's gonna be, they'd start doing word building, but I wanna say it's like March before they're word building, yeah. Okay, any questions? All right, any questions about cumulative blending? Because that is something that comes to throw people for a loop. You guys feel good on that? Okay. And then just a reminder, dictation or spelling, that's your checkup time. That's when you want to see if they've internalized it. And again, immediately correct mistakes.
I understand cumulative blending, but if you have a student who has trouble, can you give me some pointers? Just repetition?
Yeah, it's honest, it's ah. Let's put those sounds together. Ha, let's hold the sounds, switch our sounds. Ha, what's our last sound? Hat.
Okay.
It's a lot of you coaching through it.
Okay, so I have a student that we can get that and just switch up the letter and it's still ha.
Yeah,
So
you have to
is it just because you
recumulatively
just-
blend the next word.
Okay,
Yep,
Just gotta keep,
yep,
just be persistent.
yep.
That's what I've been doing.
Yes, you're on the right
Stop
path.
me.
No, there's
Yeah.
no magic formula. Yeah, it's just, and it's the fact that those are the kids who don't understand that a word can just change with one sound. Those are kids who think that a word is unique from another word and I just have to memorize them. And that's what you are trying to break with them, is the fact that that's where you hit your ceiling in 4th grade of you've memorized all your brain can memorize. And that's why 4th grade you see another huge gap in kids reading.
So are teachers finally realizing that you've got to learn phonics? Are they going back to that?
Oh, yeah. That's been,
Because that's what we've been fighting with, at least I have.
at one of the schools here? Oh, gosh.
They're memorizing words at K. I'm like, no.
Okay, that's the
Sight
two
words
words.
are horrible. Brown is a sight word.
Well, they
Brown
do
is-
sight words at both schools, and that's why I was saying, like, so what should we do so you feel like when a teacher hands us like the week's spelling list, but it's more important for us to work through this dictation than to work on because it does get confusing, like I have kids who
So my question is,
Trust me, I'm doing phonics.
my question is the teacher giving you, I understand the burden that the teachers are under. So is the teacher giving you a spelling list because they haven't, because it's a lot of extra planning for them to come to you? Is that basically like, the spelling lists do match the phonics patterns generally, but it also throws in a lot of other sounds. So I don't want to tell you to undermine, like if the teacher's asking you, I've been in that position where as support, so if the teacher's asking you to work on a spelling list, I don't want to say don't do it because the teacher hopefully knows their student well enough to know what the student knows. However, I guess what I would say is spend some time working on the spelling list. Don't try and word build the whole spelling list. It will be a nightmare. Torture for you and torture for the kid. Spend some time on the spelling list. Pull out, a couple words that maybe in a pattern, and then go on and do some word building or something like that.
I think it's just easy. To me, it's just what's easy, right? Because the spelling list is up, it's accessible, it's something that they can hand us, it's easy.
Right.
Maybe they feel
But-
like they have to hand you something.
Yeah. So that's what be the other thing, is tell them like, hey, we've got all the word building sequences, the Beck word building sequences back in the room. Do you mind if I
Yeah.
do? Oh, thank you. I mean, as a teacher, if you told me, if you came to me and said, hey, I've got the Beck word building sequences and I've been trained in word building, I would be like, have at it. You know, that's a worthwhile use of your time and my students' time, and I am not having to spend extra time preparing for it. So that might be my, I'll work on this, but on this. Do you know that I have the word building sequences? Would you prefer me to, or would you like for me to spend some time doing that? Okay, any other questions? All right, so you're going to, work with a partner, and I want you to quickly try doing the list A17. Okay, so you can set the blue cards off to the side. You might have to go with a small group over partnership. Yes.